There's one big thing that stood out to me from Palantir's earnings, something that's made me incredibly excited and confident as a Palantir investor. Now, the earnings were good across the board, pretty much the best they've ever had, and they're now eligible for S&P 500 inclusion, which is a big deal for any company. We've been speaking all about this and Palantir in general over on the Discord. If you want to get access to that, check out the link in the description below. On the 7th of April, 2023, so not even that long ago, Palantir announced that they were releasing a brand new platform, Artificial Intelligence Platform, AIP. This new platform was developed to combine the machine learning technologies that Palantir had already been working on with their industrial and military partners, alongside the latest large language models, which were of course gaining a lot of attention. And this was for customers across both the commercial and government sector. You're probably already familiar with large language models, LLMs, without even realizing. These are what's used in the likes of ChatGPT, which of course has gained a lot of popularity this year. But the difference between Palantir's AIP and the likes of ChatGPT comes down to the use cases. ChatGPT and others are primarily being used for writing essays, asking simple questions and things like that. Whereas AIP is more used for real-world situations. So for example, warehouse supply issues, or even in the likes of hospital settings. It provides the tools to make large language models truly valuable and useful. When Palantir announced AIP, they gave a few different examples of how it could actually be used to try and give some insight. So for example, in terms of the defense sector, so the government sector, an intelligence analyst working for an allied nation in Europe might prompt AIP as follows. Which of our special forces units are closest to enemy tank positions and have sufficient supplies of Javelin missiles to mount an offensive? And which specific tanks on the battlefield are most vulnerable to attack? Then they also gave an example for more of a commercial use of AIP. A scientist searching for new drugs at a large American pharmaceutical company might ask AIP the following. Which of our project's candidate drugs is predicted to be the safest for human use? And do we have the capacity to scale up production for a clinical trial of those drugs? Palantir have demonstrated time and time again just how transformational AIP can be. They've put video demos up on their website, which you are welcome to go and watch so you can understand a little bit more. But they've also been holding these AIP Con Days. They've had 2 so far. And basically what these are a collection of different AIP clients come together and they talk about how they are using AIP in their business and what real benefits they are seeing. And from these 2 days, we have seen, one, that AIP is truly transforming how they are understanding and utilizing their data more effectively. But 2, just how many different companies from all different sectors are managing to find true benefit from AIP. I think most Palantir investors were quite excited for the potential of AIP when it was released. We knew it could be quite a big deal, but I don't think any of us realized just how big this could be for Palantir until Q3 earnings. On the presentation deck from the Q3 earnings, we had 2 key pieces of information about AIP that's given us an insight into the potential that it really has. The first was the difference in AIP client numbers. So in the last earnings presentation deck, they had a few AIP clients presented on the deck, and that was great. And you can see here there were a number of big names: Jacobs, Cleveland Clinic, PwC, Panasonic, and so on. But you will see that there was quite a lot of space on this deck. There were a limited number of AIP clients because it was quite new, right? But this slide has been updated and it's now very busy. And I think next time, I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they'll do it across 2 different slides. Maybe they'll just put the key names. I don't know. These aren't even all of them. But what you can see here is it says AIP at AIP Con, our customers unveiled their AIP workflows. So that's just what I've been speaking about. During AIP Con, the AIP clients were telling everyone how they were using AIP and what benefits it was having. But the growth in clients using AIP is absolutely unreal here. So like I was saying, it was announced back in April, but it was actually launched for use only about 5 months ago. And already they've got nearly 300 organizations using it. And these organizations, more importantly than just the number, are ranging across many, many sectors: healthcare, finance, hospitality, you name it. There is pretty much a client in a sector out there utilizing AIP, and it's only growing. The demand is seriously strong. So they have literally tripled their AIP customers in just 1 quarter. Now, of course, this sort of growth is expected in early stages. This won't continue. At some point, the market will saturate and it will sort of plateau off a little bit more, the typical S-curve that we see. But what I will say for AIP, they are in the very infancy stages. So this is why we're so excited. Also on the deck was information about their new go-to-market strategy for AIP. So let me just back up a minute here. Palantir have had really good software for a long time. Many decades, but they have always had trouble actually marketing and selling those pieces of software up until recently, because now what they're doing with AIP in particular is they're holding AIP bootcamp events. AIP bootcamps are basically where Palantir hold these sessions, and these sessions last between a few hours and 5 days. And in these sessions, different representatives from many different businesses come and they see AIP in action. They physically get to use AIP with their business needs. They walk away from that event having a real use case for AIP. The idea is that they see such value that they then go to the person in charge at their organization, the CEO, whoever it may be, and they say, look, I have seen AIP being used. I know how valuable it is, and we need it in our organization. So let's just take a look at the 2 slides that they had in the presentation for the Q3 earnings. So we can see here, AIP bootcamps from 0 to use case in 5 days or less. Our new go-to-market approach for AIP. We're on track to conduct AIP bootcamps for more than 140 organizations by the end of November, and we'll talk about that in a bit more detail in just a minute. These immersive hands-on keyboard sessions allow new and existing customers to build live alongside Palantir engineers, all working toward the common goal of deploying AI in operations. So the outcomes, which are really important here. Number 1, they understand how to apply AI to mission critical operations. So there is a real difference between someone talking to you about how to use AI and what AI can do for your business and actually seeing it with your business critical operations and how it can help you. That makes it more tangible, because not a lot of people truly understand AI. Number 2, develop initial use cases in AIP. So from attending one of these boot camps, you walk away with a real use case about how AIP can help you. 3, onboard and train users for rollout. This is really important because sometimes the barrier to entry can be so high. 1, you don't understand what AI is, you don't understand how it can help you, and it's all just buzzwords thrown at you. And 2, you don't actually know how to interact with these platforms, with these systems, with these pieces of software. So even if you understand AI, you might not be able to interact with it well enough to get value from it. AIP bootcamps are tackling all of these issues. So we can see here, this is Elliot Smith, a data scientist from Trinity Industries. He's attended an AIP bootcamp, and here's what he had to say. I approached this engagement very critically. It's hard for someone to come in and build a product in one day, especially when we have been working with other entities for months and we haven't seen results. We worked with Palantir and got the results we wanted in less than 8 hours. In less than 8 hours, but they had been working with other companies for months and seen nothing. We presented to our CEO the very next day. So why are these AIP bootcamps being so successful? Why do they work? Well, like I just said, people are a bit sick and tired of hearing just buzzwords thrown at them. Words that don't mean anything, words that they don't understand, words that they don't know what they mean in the context of what they do every day. And that is the case for a lot of people that work in an average business. If you walk up to someone working in the hospitality sector, in the healthcare sector, in maybe the finance sector, and you start throwing these big buzzwords at them related to AI, they're probably not going to have any idea what you mean. And because of that, the barrier to entry is so high, which is why a lot of people don't really want to get involved, because it just seems impossible. They don't understand and they don't know how to use it. But this is what the AIP bootcamps are doing. It's lowering that barrier to entry so that it's literally, you don't need to worry about not knowing what it means. You are going to physically sit with someone and learn on the spot, and you're going to see it. Because a lot of people learn by actually doing. So it's allowing people to come along and get hands-on with the tools, bringing their business problems to these boot camps to see how valuable it can be for them. And interestingly, these boot camps are seeing not just engineers from different businesses show up, but representatives from all different business functions across many sectors. And then we had the earnings call, which was Alex Karp and the management team talking a little bit more in detail about some highlights from the earnings and sort of giving a forward guidance and a forward-looking statement. And what I will say, and I said this in my Q3 earnings video that I'll link up here if you want to watch after this, they couldn't have sounded more bullish and more confident on AIP if they tried. After seeing all the information, after seeing all the evidence, and after hearing them speak, I think that AIP could be the one thing that makes Palantir incredibly valuable as a company in the future. Let me know if you agree with that statement in the comments below. So during this earnings, they said that 70 boot camps will happen in November. 70 in just 1 month, which is more than all the commercial pilots that they did last year. That's huge. They are scaling this. They have seen that these boot camps are converting into AIP customers. They are seeing the benefit that their clients are getting from attending these, and they're just going to keep doing them more. And this isn't just happening in one little city in America. This is expanding. This is going global. So I'm just pointing out that the growth seems to be there. They're getting amazing feedback, and the go-to-market strategy they have for AIP seems to be incredibly efficient, and it seems to be working. So Palantir's CFO said this: the energy and engagement around AIP is unlike anything that we've seen. Bootcamp attendees, so people from different industries, from different businesses that are actually going to these boot camps, some of them have said, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So once you've sat down and you've actually seen AIP being used for your business needs and what it can actually do, you can't unsee the value. So the whole point is that they demonstrate the value to the potential customers, and then they just want it. They can't walk away and say, oh, I'll leave that one on the table. It's not going to change the business that much, because they know how much it really will impact the business. And I think a lot of people were worried initially about these AIP boot camps in terms of, okay, well, they're going to have to spend hours, days, 0 to 5 days across many different cities. So it's a lot of upfront cost in terms of their employees' time and booking out rooms and whatever else. It seems tedious, and it seems like a lot of money. But actually, Alex Karp said that sometimes these AIP boot camps are taking just 6 hours, but the benefit and value coming out of them is way more than 6 hours worth of work. They then went on in the earnings call to talk about competition, especially around AIP. So Alex Karp said this: my view is that we should build products that are so good that the competition stops competing, whether in commercial or on the battlefield. And that's what we're seeing with AIP. To me, they are way ahead. Their AIP platform is better than what other potential competitors have. People are going to go to them because of how valuable it is. In his letter, he also said companies across industries in the United States are scrambling to deploy software platforms that will allow them to leverage the power of the latest large language models. We have built what they need. This is important because having access to large language models is great, but you need the tools in order to leverage the power of them. It's all well and good being able to type into ChatGPT, write me an essay about the history of lampshades. But what Palantir allow with AIP is real world use. I would definitely recommend going to watch some of their demo videos on their website and listening to the AIP Condays, because you will understand then how businesses are actually utilizing this, whether in defense for literally on the battlefield decisions and operations, or maybe in more of a commercial business setting. He said every large organization in the markets that we serve is a potential customer, and we intend to work with them all. That is such a confident statement. The total addressable market for AIP is pretty much every single business, commercial and government. It can work with anyone. It can work with the healthcare sector, the finance sector, the hospitality sector, whatever other sector, literally them all. It can work with them all, which means that all they've got to do now is really scale. They've got to carry on being able to sell this and then scale this. They've got the good product. Now they've just got to market it correctly to get as many people on board as they can. They will show them the value. And then, because remember, AIP is not yet monetized. So they're not making any money from this yet, from AIP in particular. But what they will do is at some point in the future, they will switch on that monetization. And when they do, I imagine customers will have the option to either then pay Palantir or walk away and not use AIP anymore. And from the sounds of what the people using AIP are actually saying, I think they will definitely choose to pay Palantir and use this for the future. Another thing to say is that once they get people interested in AIP, they can then harness that relationship and actually upsell other things that they have. And this is already becoming evident. So Palantir's CFO said, we signed a deal with one of the largest home construction builders, and that deal was worth $40 million. In Q3 that happened, and that was because of AIP. Is AIP the thing of Palantir's right now that you are most bullish on? Or is there something else that they sell, a different platform that they have that you're more excited about? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in another one very shortly.